So, with every passing day, our attention spans have been decreasing, as you also saw me earlier, what I was doing, where I couldn't focus on my work. Studies show us that previous times people used to have attention spans for more than 2 minutes, but now this has reduced to under half a minute. And that's a massive change. And why is that happening? Well, you tell me. Thanks to social media, these days we are just hopping from one platform to the other. At one moment we're on Instagram, on the other we are trying to see what's happening in our social groups on WhatsApp. Then we move on to TikTok, and if we still have the time, we might also check our emails. And in doing all of this, we are not really be able to focus on one thing, and that is really impacting the quality of our life, be it personal or professional. And to be honest, I struggle with this as well, just like you. Although I must admit, some days are better for me and some days are not so. So for example, what you saw me earlier in the video where I was trying to work on my assignment, but I just couldn't because I just kept on going back to my mobile phone. But on the days when I'm really good at not being distracted and when I can really focus on the things that really matter to me, I started to observe my behavior, and I came up with few things which are really learnings for me, which have helped me not to be distracted and work on the things which really matter to me. And now I'm going to share those learnings with you as well, with the hope that they would really help you as well. For me, it's always very important to understand the why behind it. You must have heard people saying, including myself, when I tell people or my friends, oh, I'm not feeling like doing it. And here I would like to share this very interesting quote from this book. Most people don't want to acknowledge the uncomfortable truth that distraction is always an unhealthy escape from reality. And you know what? I absolutely believe in that, because I've realized that every single time I'm not able to focus on something, I'm always distracted because of something else happening in my life. For example, when I'm working, sometimes I just want to check my mobile phone to see what's happening in a certain cricket match, or just to give me this temporary happiness by using social media. And because I'm already trying to escape the reality and I don't want to face what's happening right now, and therefore I just go with it. So what I notice in my behavior, that in all those situations when I'm tempted to check my mobile phone, I always remind myself that, okay, if I am not checking my mobile phone in this time, that means I would be able to finish my task in time, and therefore I can have some time later on where I can be distracted as much as I want, and I can check my mobile phone, I can check my WhatsApp, or whatever is it. So just remind yourself the importance of the task you're doing right now to help you move forward with it. My second point is discipline versus motivation. Now, we hear a lot in our lives that, okay, you have to be motivated to do this. But what we really forget is that sometimes the discipline you need and not the motivation. And I'll tell you why. So when we wake up in the morning, we straight away go to the bathroom, we brush our teeth. For that, we don't even think. We just do all these things on autopilot because our body is used to doing that. We have learned that practice over so many years, where you wake up in the morning, your teeth you brush, later on you eat something, then you take a shower, so on and so forth. So there are a few things in life which we just do because we are trained that way. We have learned those things over practice over all these years, and that really comes down to building that habit. And so if you don't have the habit of taking your phone every single time you feel the need to, you can avoid distraction. And again, I would like to share a very interesting thing I read in this book, which I mentioned earlier, is that authors introduce 10 minutes rule, where they say, well, every single time I feel distracted and I feel the urge to take my phone or talk to somebody or do something else which I'm not apparently supposed to do at this very moment, I tell myself that, okay, let me continue with this thing that I'm doing right now, and I would get that distraction on board in 10 minutes time. And you know what happens in 10 minutes time? Those 10 minutes would give you the support you need to focus on your current task, and later on would also give you time to make an informed choice and make an informed decision if you would like to be distracted. Because what happens most of the times, if you notice, we are just distracted involuntarily. Sometimes we don't even realize that we are being distracted. So if you have that some minutes in between just to think and then decide for yourself, you would see a massive improvement in your behavior, where you would not be as much distracted because you're thinking about it now. And then in life, it's extremely important for us to remember the consequences of our actions. So when I am distracted by a certain thing, I know that I have to pay the price for it. So I'll give you this example. While writing the script for this video, I was super distracted because some cricket matches are happening right now. And I was super distracted. I was keeping an eye on the match, what's happening there. And as a result, I missed my daily walk. I missed calling a friend as well because I pushed my work further down and I did not use that time which I was supposed to do, and therefore I could not do other things which were equally important to me. And so I had to face those consequences. Every single time we have to remind ourselves the consequences of distractions, how that can prolong things. And to be honest, that really impacts the quality of not only our work, but also our physical and mental well-being, because you keep on thinking about it, that increases your stress, and that does not help at all. So every single time you feel distracted, always remind yourself, okay, if I'm distracted right now and if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, what would be the consequences for this? Another thing which I realized really helps me to avoid distraction is to understand how my day really looks like and having a plan for a day. So for example, when I wake up in the morning, if I know what I'm going to do in a day, I do not feel the urge to be distracted. Instead, I just move from my one task to the other without any distraction in between. And for that, there's a very interesting technique as well which we can use. It's called time boxing. Time and boxing, as you can see, when you connect the both, it means that you're allotting a certain time slot for every given task you have in a day. And then you also hold yourself accountable for doing it or perhaps not doing the task, and therefore you plan your day accordingly. Elon Musk very famously used this technique as well, but of course that's an extreme use of it where he puts 5 minutes time slot for all of his tasks in a day to see how much he has achieved. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that you do the same thing, but include that in some way or shape in your routine to see how much time do you need to fulfill certain tasks, and also hold yourself accountable for it. Because imagine if you have a meeting with your boss, or if you're seeing a friend, or if you have another important task to do with another person, you definitely would fulfill that, right? So apply the same thing to yourself. In this case though, it's you yourself who is accountable to yourself. So think about that and try to overcome your distraction in this way as well. Also, amidst the work, do not forget to take breaks. I cannot focus enough on the fact that how important it is to take break for good, productive work. I've realized that in myself, and I have planned breaks when I know that, okay, after doing this 1 hour of work, for example, I'll take 10 minutes or 15 minutes break where I can leave my desk, I can check my phone, I can call my family or my friends. I know that I have something to look forward to. On the other hand, when I'm just sitting there and trying to work, I'm thinking about all those things which I want to do, but I cannot because I have this work to do right now. So the idea is to have a planned break in between your work so you can give yourself that time to be distracted as much as you want in that planned break, and that does not affect your work. You know, some people are massive fans of multitasking. To some extent, me too. And actually, I also made a video on that. But it's also important for us to remember that how and in which situation multitasking could be good. Now, that also sometimes is a reason behind a distraction. So here's the situation. You're writing a report, but in the meantime, you're also keeping an eye on your email, and at the same time, you're also trying to do something else. And now, amidst all of this, you are distracting yourself from one point to the other. Although in your head, you're thinking you're getting all these things done, but actually, that's not the reality. You might be able to get all these things done, but the quality may suffer. So try and focus on one thing at a time so that you can put all your focus and energy on those things which require your attention, and then move on to the next. Every single time I'm distracted and I just feel like I'm just going into this rabbit hole where I'm not really able to help myself, I think to myself, you know what? Maybe I just can't do it. Maybe this is too much. Maybe I would be just distracted all through the day. And in those moments, I've realized what really helps me is to make a fresh start. And so I tell myself, well, you know what? Maybe today was not a good day for me. Maybe I was too distracted mentally. Maybe I had something else going on, but I would make tomorrow a better day. So what I do then, I plan tomorrow in advance. I try to plan tomorrow better, and I try to identify all the issues which were really distracting me from the main thing. So try that for yourself as well. Remember, there's always a fresh start which you can take. I cannot focus enough on the fact that there are so many triggers around us which really distract us. When I was doing my MBA and I was writing my PhD thesis later on, I realized that my mobile phone was the biggest distraction for me. So what I started doing, I started putting it on silent. But that didn't help me either, because I would still have it on my desk, and every single time a notification would pop up on my phone, I would leave my work wherever it was and I would start checking my phone without realizing that I have just lost my train of thoughts. I just forgot what I was doing here. Instead, I have completely moved my focus and attention to something else which was not very important. So I learned to start locking my phone in my drawer, which really helped for a couple of hours. Similarly, I had another friend. She was always watching YouTube videos, and one day she told me, she said, you know what, I don't know what should I do, because every single time I'm online, I start to watch these YouTube videos. So we discussed that, and we agreed that she should just download all the documents she needs to write her report and sit in a place where there's no Wi-Fi. So what she started doing instead, that she switched off Wi-Fi on her devices, on her laptop, on her mobile phone, so that she can just completely focus on your work. Now that was her trigger. It's very important for all of us, therefore, to try and identify what is your trigger which really distracts you and try to avoid that. And finally, you need to try. Trust me, nothing would happen without you trying. No matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many books you read, no matter how many things you see on the internet today, unless and until you would not really understand the problem, you would not acknowledge the problem, that you have this problem, that you do feel distracted, you cannot do anything. Acknowledging our problems is the first step towards recovery. I have learned that lesson through my mistakes and my experience, and therefore, so I can tell you this very confidently, that it's very important for you to acknowledge and understand that you have this problem, that you do feel distracted, and then start taking those steps which would really help you to improve that situation for you. I really hope this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.